Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Top Tier Talk. This week, unfortunately, we will have to discuss the international break. So, quick fire international break roundup. England are terrible, beat Malta 2-0, which is the worst game of football I've seen this season, maybe even longer. And drew 1-0 with North Macedonia, which did mean we did finish qualifying undefeated, but that means nothing when we get knocked out in the round of 16 to some random European team next year. So, moving on to the Premier League, which returned to our screens, as I said. Manchester United, Everton, 3-0. Rashford is back to his best after getting with his girlfriend, hiring out a restaurant and getting a fresh fade. So Chavez, take it away.
Well, he's not back to his best. He scored a goal, but that was another classic Rashford performance. He rarely did something good. Aside from that, we'll start with the moment of the game, the moment that's going to be replayed and remembered for many years to come. Garnacho's goal. I think it's one of the earliest all-timer goals you ever see it happen in the third minute. And yeah, couldn't believe it. I guess someone could say he's like a star in the making, so you could see it happening. I don't see any footballer doing that until it actually happens, and he did it. So that was unbelievable. He's never going to score a goal better than that again. The celebration also was beautiful to see Ronaldo's influence on the game of football. Manu was actually the man of the match. I know I gave Garnacho man of the match in the actual ratings, but that's because when you score a goal like that, 1 in a million, you have to kind of get it because he actually played well. But Manu's overall performance, I mean, there were some really senior players on that pitch. Decore was on the pitch. Idrissa Gana Gueye was on the pitch. McTominay is technically a senior player. I mean, these are players that are genuine midfielders, and Manu looked like a class above them. And I know the one game that we did use to big up Manu was that friendly against Arsenal, where again he did look like the best player on the pitch, even though Rice wasn't there, Casemiro was playing. But this game now is a Premier League match, and he was genuinely the best player on the pitch amongst the 26, 27 players that played all together. And that was his first Premier League start. He's only 18. He's got a bright future ahead of him. I really hope he doesn't get injured because that's kind of delayed his process of he could have really been an integrated player in the team right now, and he got subbed off, which means he's probably going to start in the most important game of our season in 3 days' time against Galatasaray. Aside from that, Onana has the most clean sheets in the Premier League. It's a fascinating statistic. He did, to be fair, he made a lot of saves today. He was good. I thought Harry Maguire is causing a massive issue right now amongst our fan base. The performances he's putting in are really are keeping Varane out of the team because Varane is not considered as a left centre back. Only Lindelof is at the moment. Maguire is brilliant. He's genuinely, you can see he's really important to the team, his physicality, because Lindelof sometimes struggles in that aspect, but Lindelof complements him on the ball. He wasn't as good today, though. Luke Shaw came back. That was good. I really did want Luke Shaw to play left centre back because I think Luke Shaw's the best left centre back we have at the club behind Martinez, but we'll see how he's used in this next period. And yeah, aside from that, Martial scored. I think I was going to say Martial's version of him against Everton is the most inevitable striker up there in the history of football. He always scores against Everton, regardless of what's going on around him. Cheating on his wife, terrible performances, bad demeanor, always angry. If it's Everton, it's a good day.
I have a couple of questions for you. I did see before your game and during the week there was a couple rumours of Varane being unhappy with lack of game time and another Ten Hag potential falling out. From you, is this anything or is this just football Twitter trying to spark or people trying to spark, arguments and like stuff, to be honest? What do you think on that?
I think no one knows for a fact if Varane is unhappy, but I think it doesn't take much interpretation to realize that a Champions League winning player 5 times is going to be unhappy at being second choice for someone like Johnny Evans who got relegated last year. I think, of course, he's going to be unhappy. I'd be worried if he wasn't. He's got a mentality, he's got a mindset that's got him this far. But at the same time, I think there is a bit of a disagreement here and maybe not a misunderstanding, but it's just a conflict of interest between Ten Hag and Varane in the sense that Ten Hag just really does only see Lindelof, Evans, Martinez, and Luke Shaw as the left centre backs at the club. He doesn't play Maguire there, and he doesn't play Varane. And I don't think anyone can argue that in the last 5-6 games, who's been better between Maguire and Varane? It's been Maguire by an astronomical amount. I mean, it's 2 different leagues. Varane came on in that Champions League game that we lost recently and pretty much cost us the game. Obviously, there was other mistakes, but he was very much part of it. So Maguire has been the best defender at the club this season. So yeah, that's where the conflict of interest comes in.
Do you think there's a potential exit on the cards, or do you think it's just a bit of? Because obviously he probably is out of all your centre backs the most accomplished and probably is the best. out of all of them. It's just
Overall, yeah, as
yeah.
peak. I would say it would be really disappointing if that happened, and I think Varane is better than that. I mean, I don't think Sancho is better than that. I think Sancho will leave at the first moment given in January. I think Varane should understand the situation, what is going on, and he just needs to play well when he is given the opportunity.
Mm.
I was going to say our fans complain a lot about things. The same fans that complained about Oli being too nice and protecting the players now complain about Ten Hag being a bit stricter and following a set of principles and rules. So make your mind up.
That's true. You want kind of both ends of the cake and
Mm.
eat it. Another player that potential, just some potential I did read about was Casemiro, saying he wouldn't rule out a potential move to Saudi and stuff. Would this be considered, if he does leave in the summer, a flop signing, or what's your thoughts on this, or whatever? Because 70 million for a 30-plus-year-old is quite a lot of money, and to only get 2 years out of him, I think he was on a 4 or 5 year contract or whatever, could potentially be.
I don't think he's a flop just because he basically won us a trophy. He was involved and was very much the best DM in the Premier League at some point last season for a certain amount of time. I don't think he's a flop, but I do think we've overpaid. I think we have to agree on a middle ground. You can't just either be a flop or be, there's that middle ground where it's like, okay, we slightly overpaid. We didn't overpay by a lot. But I would be disappointed again if he leaves. I think Casemiro has to accept a more sort of reduced role in the team. And I know Ronaldo was not willing to do that, but Casemiro kind of has to now, especially with Mainu coming in. I would, however, like to see a midfield with Casemiro and Mainu, because I think that's actually our best.
Why is that Casemiro having a more of a reduced role after being probably up there
His
as one of
legs.
the... Is it his legs? Okay.
Yeah, you can see his legs go after 60 minutes in a match, and then he doesn't actually get subbed off all that often when he probably should. And it's annoying because we don't actually have great replacements. I mean, Sofian Amrabat is not a footballer, and we have Scott McTominay, who's also not a footballer when it comes to the defensive side of the game. McTominay is more of a striker who's played at DM for some reason. The options aside from him aren't great. And Ericsson, again, my opinion on him, on the ball, great, off the ball. It's off the ball, that's the issue. And Mainu is there, but I think Mainu being there with Casemiro will work when that happens.
You think it's too much pressure you guys are putting on a youngster, or do you think because I remember you guys were all gassing him up and then he got injured, so you guys have been waiting a long time for him to return. Is he the real deal, do you think?
I mean, I said the thing about you, a player is either a villain at United or they're a saviour. And Mainu definitely falls down the saviour route. But I did say we shouldn't overhype him that much. But once he's played today and I've seen that he's not even missed a step from that last friendly game, I think it's okay to acknowledge how good he is. But again, if he puts a bad performance in, no one's going to go at him. He's only 18.
I was going to say, I think it's
if you're good enough, you're old enough.
I was going to say, I think it's a fine line between, as you said, basically hero or zero if he's vilified, if anything goes wrong. Like quite a lot, like maybe not necessarily younger players, but at United over the last few years since it's been going wrong, there's been quite a lot of, I say, abuse aimed at. There's one mistake, ignoring Maguire, because you could argue there was mistake after mistake, whereas you said if Varane came on and cost you that one game in the UCL, or Casemiro's legs, him slowing down, that happens with every footballer, not just him. He seems to be getting sort of hounded out sometimes. Do you reckon your fan base will turn on him?
Fans.
Do you reckon?
I just think we have too many. Yeah. I think we have too many fans with too many opinions, and they differentiate quite a lot. When you have this many fans, the opinion is more like skewed. It's not just one opinion. So it does sometimes feel like a player's being hounded out. But the genuine fans who criticize what they see and don't then follow that with a reaction of, "Well, get him out of my club," listen to them, because no one wants Casemiro out the club for his legs going away at the 60th minute of the football match. No one wants Varane out because he's not good enough at left centre back versus maybe Lindelof, if that's what Ten Hag's opinion is. No one wants a player out, but some fans of ours are just embarrassing. I've said myself, we are the worst fan base in the world.
Yeah.
And I know I was going to say, I know it was Everton, but I suppose 2 weeks ago it was looked at as a relegation 6-pointer. Ten Hag, I'm guessing, in your eyes, has still got time. Do you reckon this will kickstart?
Relegation 6-pointer?
Well, it was never a relegation 6-pointer. But anyway, moving on from that waffle.
What I was
going to say about Everton, we should talk about Everton. They've had a very fascinating week. They've had a week where they've prepared a full protest. They gave banners to every fan to lift up in the first, I think, minute and 10th minute for the points they got. And in the 3rd minute, they conceded one of the great goals. But aside from the joke, I actually feel really bad for them. I feel really bad for them.
Yeah, I mean, like, it looks like obviously Chelsea and Man City are in the firing line. If they're getting 10 points, then could it be with 115 breaches?
One charge.
Man City could be getting
By that math, that Man City should be getting 100. Whatever that is,
150.
They become
1,150.
semi-pro or something, right? They become a semi-pro team or
Might see
something.
him playing up.
1,150 points, 115
Yeah.
times 10. That's what City should be getting. And it's one of those where I don't know. I know
They're
this
not
week
good
we've
enough,
seen,
Lawrence.
and we can
I'd
go
probably-
on to the Man City game if you want now, naturally, if you want. Man City did get lucky. Well, didn't get lucky this week. This was the one week where it was actually against Man City, 2 decisions. But I think
Fair enough. Yeah,
it deserved
let's move
results.
on to the City Liverpool game. I mean, first we're going to talk about Alisson, right? The distribution, the whole game was absolutely awful. I don't know if it's through tiredness, jet lag, or whatever, or what, but he got really lucky that game. I mean, well, he did concede one, but he was lucky it wasn't 3 or 4. And I don't think
Yeah.
I think it was a harsh foul, to be honest.
Oh,
It was
both. I didn't agree
Yeah.
with both.
Well, I was going to say, it looks on the replay where it certainly pushed. Was it Ake? Was it Ake? It was Ake, if I'm not being.
Kanju.
I think it was a Kanji
Kanji.
both times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's pushed in first, been pushed back, and then it's like, well, if that happens anywhere else on the pitch, it's 50-50. You get on with it unless there's any malice or intent behind it.
Mm.
And
I
there
think he
wasn't.
jumped too quick for the ball and he missed it.
Yeah, it's just, and it's like, I've argued protection for goalkeepers before in terms of, I feel it is a bit overprotected, but they do deserve a bit more protection, whether that's just because I play a goal. But it's also, it feels like now with the rules and the goalkeepers know that they're protected by referees or by whoever it is, they overdo it and they throw themselves to the floor and instantly scream foul.
Could you blame them, though?
No, because they're just
it.
using it to their, that's what they get away with it. Same as,
Yeah, smart.
yeah, same as time wasting and fouls and stuff like that. It's always going to be in the game unless they really clamp down on it and go, like, if they give that goal at the weekend and consistently give that goals similar to that and don't make
brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's the issue, consistency. But it's, if, for example, they'll let that one in and then there'll be one next weekend that will go.
Yeah.
Or
no, it's because like the Gabriel one.
Yeah.
With the 2 hands. It's very interesting how they go about it.
Yeah.
I was going to say Alisson's 2 worst performances in a Liverpool shirt have come against Man City.
I was going to say it mirrors the game, the one during COVID, right, where they lost like 4 something. I can't remember. It was 4-3 or 4-2. But
yeah,
a couple points in the game that we should speak on. Firstly, what was funny to me was Trent shushing all the Man City players after his goal, but then he get dribbled past like 9 times in the game or something ridiculous. So
which,
that's quite funny.
I think is a record for this season.
Yeah, exactly. So like. Trent can't defend.
I think Trent should be tried. I know we've seen Trent. I think we physically went to watch a match for England and Trent was playing in the midfield. But maybe either a right winger. I know Salah's there. This is why Trent's never been tried there. Either a right winger or a right-sided midfielder in a 3. Because Liverpool don't have a 10-10. Because Szoboszlai he's not allowed to do that job. So why not? Yeah, like why not play on the right side of? Because Trent is such a weird player to talk about because he does that and then he just gets destroyed. Doku was amazing. I mean, Doku is a dream come true, man. I really wish we had a winger like him, and I think watching players like him week in week out, I just hate Anthony even more. But it was a great game. Haaland was good. I thought Haaland actually was involved.
As we said with Haaland, the quickest player in 48 games to score 50 Premier League goals. I think it was Andy Cole's number 2 was on match day. I think 98 games or something, which is ridiculous. I did want to say, what is our top 5 strikers in the league so far this season? What do you guys think? If we did a top 5 strikers, I think I can name 2. Obviously, Haaland.
Well, Haaland's top.
And Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
Who would the other 3?
Son's been playing through the middle.
I would say Isaac. Isaac in the box. Isaac is so good. His composure in the box. Watkins as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Isaac,
4. We got 4.
I'd put Son as a striker. I do agree. And who would we put as the 5th? If we look at the
not Jackson.
No, he's got more yellow cards than goals.
Would it be an Evan Ferguson who's up there with 6 goals? Would it be a Jared Bowen plays predominantly on the right wing?
Yeah. What about an I suppose Alvarez hasn't.
I still say
Ivan striker, is he?
I still say Tony.
Are you picking just based on striker? Then I suppose this season.
Having a punt on him, yeah.
We're doing based on striker him.
If based on this season,
say Evan Ferguson, or would we say Luka Jackson?
I'd still say Tony. Man.
Even fair enough.
Maybe if you don't want to count Tony, then Ferguson.
Yeah, if we're basing it off the start of this season, then
Ferguson, of course, Ferguson, just for an 18 or whatever.
And obviously Salah's on the right, so we can't count him as an out striker. But I think
he's so inevitable.
Yeah. Obviously.
I was going to say Bernardo Silva is the most underrated player currently operating in football.
And that guy's been like forcing the move for the last 5 years. That guy don't want to be
He's played more
But
positions than I've had
He's
hot dinners
also
as well.
Silva's also one of the most unique profiles. He's got like the agility and that prowess of David Silva, but at the same time he's strong and he works really hard. He's a very good player. He plays everywhere. He's probably played every position at
great
this point.
utility player.
He's got the dog in him.
Brilliant. Yeah, he does.
Fantastic signing.
Speaking of people that don't have the dog in them, I suppose Newcastle 4, Chelsea 1. Amir.
Yeah, Chelsea do not have the dog in them. Chelsea don't have much in them. I mean, after the 4-4 with Man City, you give us a bit of hope going into this game, but it was an absolute shit show. Excuse my French. Going into it, what can I say? Isaac for the first goal, Cucurella leaving him on so far behind the actual line. Great finish by Isaac. The youngster, I don't know what his name is. He's 17 from Newcastle. He looks really good. What a pass by him. Fair play to them. Yeah. We come back in at Sterling with a good free kick, and then 2-1 with who scored wasn't Lascelles' header. Another thing I do want to say, Chelsea, we can't defend from crosses at all. If you clock against City, Akanji scored his header. Against, was it Arsenal or someone else? But we've conceded so many goals from crosses. I think that's such a big issue for us. And then obviously Silva's mistake. What's your lot's thoughts on Silva? Because he did reach a milestone. He was the oldest Chelsea player ever, and then obviously comes with that mistake. To me, I'm not looking into it too much. He's 39 and he's still a top defender. I think
he's like the best passing accuracy, ironically, the best passing accuracy in the league, I think, or something.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anymore, but
very leading the plays at centre back. But in terms of
sideways and stuff, yeah.
If you were to show his performances over the last sort of 2 years, you can tell he's slowing down. You probably could have been able to tell, even if you didn't know that he'd have been. Yeah, as I'm saying, that he'd have been the oldest player or one of the oldest players in your squad or in the league. Full stop. Because, as you said, even with Casemiro, touched on earlier with his legs, age hits some people like an absolute train.
It does. We got lucky though with Silva though because he cost us free. I think probably one of the best free signings of all time.
Yeah. I was going to say, in terms of like longevity and stuff, Silva's probably, I love this word today, but he's probably the most underrated centre back in history. I don't even joke. He doesn't get put up in that regard of like sometimes he gets missed out when you talk about the best defenders. But what were the best defenders doing at 39? Yeah. He's playing at the highest level. So fair play to him.
Absolutely. And then obviously we concede the fourth as well. See, I can't even remember the goal scorers. I'm trying to get that.
No, I remember them because I was watching that. Anthony Gordon.
Oh,
Joe Linton scored.
Gordon, another one, by the way.
Joe Linton so good.
With Gordon, do you remember last year how I was like screaming Chelsea not to sign Gordon, and then he's coming out and absolutely killing it for Newcastle?
Yeah, he was all set to be such a flop signing because they paid a lot for him, and now look at him.
Yeah, he's looking very established in that team. With Chelsea, I don't know what it is. I think it's a mixture of we've got too much youth, and I say it every week. It's too much young players. I mean, Reece James is a young captain as well, making silly mistakes and getting the second yellow. I mean,
can we talk about Enzo?
Yeah, we can talk about Enzo. What do you want to ask about Enzo?
What do you think of Enzo, the £120 million player?
I think he's good.
Because
you said your side is young, but Enzo is technically one of the more senior ones.
He is more. He's still 20.
He doesn't take it by the scruff of the neck. The games.
So what think he might. What are you expecting from him? GNA? Is that what you're expecting? Because I don't think he's.
No, I just want more like cruise control from him. You know, who's your captain? Reece James. I think. I know James is your captain, but I want Enzo to be in the players' ears, telling them what to do. I mean, he's 120 million. We were going to really be harsh on him, and he's not. We've got to be harsh on him. He's the most expensive player in the Prem.
Some people, what do you say?
He's the most expensive player in the Prem, so you've got to be harsh on him.
I think it's Caicedo now, right?
Well, it's another talking
point
then. Well, either way, it's another talking point. No matter which way you put it.
I think
when isn't Kunku back?
With Enzo, I always go back to that first game against Liverpool. If you watch him, you can see on the ball his quality as well. And I don't think midfield's our main issue. Obviously up top, as we said, and obviously it was individual errors at the back yesterday. But I don't know, to be honest. I mean, Gallagher's playing higher up as well. He's very much in favour and very right. So I don't know what it is with Enzo, to be honest. I think it's I can't put it. I don't know if it's what you guys are basing it on, because in terms of is it just controlling the midfield? Because if it's in terms of GNA, then obviously.
I think we just want more from him because he is like the star, I guess, signing that you had. But okay, going away from him, we won't be too harsh on him. I think I'm waiting for him to drop a proper bad one, and then we'll go back to him. How long to let Kunku?
You're right. I don't.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not actually been bad, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait for Kunku to come back.
What's the ETA?
I think it's early December he's back, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. And I heard more Osimhen rumours today, so that's a January
They're a
transfer.
very good source. Mike
Really?
McGrory is a very good source. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we get Osimhen and we still can't perform, then I think
Will be interesting if you get Osimhen and Arsenal get Tony. I actually right now would say it's probably best still to get Tony. He's a safer option than someone like Osimhen. But
I think I'd agree in terms of Prem experience because we lack experience and Osimhen's young. He doesn't know the league. What if he comes in like a Lukaku and it flops?
But every other
But I'm also
striker.
expecting Osimhen to be like worth a ridiculous amount, considering it's January and he's their star player.
That's got to be a 150, right? Is that a 150?
I don't know where this money is coming from. Where is FFP when it comes to that? Because that's how many £100 million players.
That's true, and that's not a question for me to answer. But with Chelsea, as we said, it's disappointing. I expected it's going to be up and down all season. There's a lack of experience in the squad. I know can't keep coming back to it, but individual errors as well. I mean, Cucurella's been good up to this point, so to that game, and obviously Silva mistake, can't do much about it, and the game's gone at 3-1. Arsenal, guys, what do you not think of Arsenal? Obviously, Havertz got his goal. All the Arsenal fans are like, yes, we stuck by him. He said, thank you for sticking by us. Is it going to be a start of a Havertz purple patch or something?
Did you see him in the international break? He played left back and scored, and now he's come back.
I know, he's been playing.
A winner.
He's a solid left back.
He wasn't play that well.
Life.
Didn't play that well left back. But I was going to say about that goal, I don't even care about Havertz in that goal. Saka played terribly in that game. Yeah, he produced the moment. This is the thing in Saka's game, which he's adding that clutch sort of, that Bruno Ronaldo had it a bit. Well, Ronaldo had it the most, but he can produce that moment, and he did. That was his goal. For me, that was his goal. It was his cross. Yeah.
This is something I always envy about. I'd say Arsenal and United, especially this season. You guys may not play well in games, but you get the result. You scrape the wins and stuff. That's what Chelsea can't do. And that's what I look at as well. Because at the end of the day, it's the points and where you finish in the league. It's not how you play well. You can't play well and lose games and expect to progress because you need to win in them times. Arsenal, they're top of the league, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yes, fair point. Yep.
Do you think this is different to last season? Because last season they were top as well, but they were playing better. Do you think it's still a Tony away
they've
from
definitely had a worse start, but you're seeing maturity. Like, this is what we wanted from Arsenal. Their players are getting older, getting experienced, which is why Arsenal are a scary prospect because they're not even playing that well yet. Imagine when they start playing well.
Yeah,
this isn't Arsenal's. By the way, this isn't Arsenal's best midfield. This isn't the Rice, Partey, Odegaard midfield that we're waiting for. So
no, this is what we touched on last year. Was it after the Bournemouth game when they won it in injury time, and it was like this could be their like Aguero moment sort of thing, and it's like scrap that though. But the outlier is that they were winning games no matter what at the start of the season up until obviously they started to tail off heavily. They were just finding ways to win games. They weren't necessarily playing well or tearing teams apart 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-0 like City do. They were just getting 1-0s, 2-1s, 3-2s. It didn't matter how or coming behind and getting points. And that's, I know they didn't end up winning the title, but that's what you need to do to win the title essentially is get Liverpool points on the board. That. Yeah. So and that's Man
City do that as well. Another player that probably another keeper with very poor distribution who looked very nervy was Aaron Ramsdale. I think obviously Raya is the number one, but the lack of confidence he's having at the moment, like in that game, was crazy. And where do you think Ramsdale will go? Do you think he'll leave in January? Is that a January, or do you think it's a summer?
I was going to say, I think Arsenal are in a very unique position here where usually you have a club, right? They have an incredible goalkeeper, a very good one, and then a very sort of, there's a gap. Arsenal have two keepers that are very similar. I think Arteta will get the best out of both of them. He can actually use it. I think he should genuinely, I know Arsenal try and want Arteta to be the next Pep, try and, make the next John Stones position. Arsenal fans are obsessed with doing that. They could actually have this here where Arteta could finally create a position where if Raya does well, continues, one mistake, put Ramsdale in. Swap them around. Whoever's playing well, play them. Right now, it's not working. It is not working. They're both under pressure. They look stressed out. I think he can get the best out of both.
But who's going to accept being the number two, though? Because at the end of the day, one of them has to be number two. Who's going to accept that?
It's Arsenal. They tend to get far in competitions.
Not true.
Say that about any Man City player.
No,
that's not true.
Across the board. Obviously, now they've got
they're in a lot of competitions, but they don't progress much. And they'll be like, they focus on the league and all this stuff. But
I know, obviously, but it would be the argument of, well, as Chavez said, mistakes, and it would also be, well, until you make a mistake, you're the first choice in the Prem. You've made a mistake, you're second choice, and just rotate like that until obviously, as you said, they don't make it far in competitions or whatever else. But thankfully, that's not a headache for us because we're not qualified managers, nor are we Mikel Arteta, I suppose.
And Chavez called the Spurs down for another loss today. Watkins again, what a finish. I thought Tottenham played well though. I watched a bit of the game. I thought Tottenham should have won the game.
Another 3 disallowed goals as well, based off obviously the Chelsea game a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think they've lost like 3 now in this month. Before, because we have barely any time left, I just wanted to congratulate Erik ten Hag before anyone else does on being the Premier League manager of the month for November. 3 out of 3 wins, 0 goals conceded. It will be him. Congrats.
So they might give it to Ange anyway.
Yeah.
So last episode,
highlight.
Chavez.
Give it to Ange for the highlight.
So last episode, you wished people losing their jobs if Ratcliffe takes over. And this week, you've congratulated a person that doesn't even have an award yet. So on that note, thank you very much for watching. And until next week, goodbye.